Mhm.
So I want
Yep.
to thank you guys for joining us. This is going to be our 2021 Google Maps webinar. Basically, we're going to talk today about what we can do with Google Maps and with our local pages and our SEO location pages in order to help us get found on the maps for your kitchen remodeling and your home improvement, home service business. So again, if you have any questions at any point, just feel free to ask. No worries at all about that. All right, so we'll just have a little issue with our PowerPoint here, but okay. So what we're going to cover today is a couple things. First of all, is the latest updates with the Google Map listings, kind of what's happening in terms of Google Maps, how it integrates with Google My Business, which is also known as GMB. Really, what are the 5 biggest issues that could be preventing you from ranking? So right now, people, they think that if they just have a map location, they set up a GMB, they're gonna rank, and or they think they need to optimize their listing to rank, and sometimes you'll actually do things that will hurt your ranking rather than helping it. And then we're going to talk about our proven model for ranking in the local 3-pack. So what that means is that when you want to rank on Google, you've got to be number 1, 2, or 3. Quite frankly, number 3 is as good as number 1. It doesn't matter. It's not like you have to be the first person. But if you're not in the top 3, then you're not showing up on Google Maps unless someone clicks a button and says, "Show me more." And to be quite frank, that doesn't happen very often. I'm going to talk about what are the tools that we use at Kitchen Remodeling SEO to automate a lot of the heavy lifting. And these are tools that you can use on your own, or they're tools that you can go and find a developer, find an SEO or a local SEO expert who can help you with as well. So just a little bit about me and kind of why I'm putting this on and why you should listen to me really is that I have been in the SEO industry since 1999. As a matter of fact, one of our agency's very first clients was a company called Inktomi, which later went on to become Yahoo. So we have been involved in the search industry since its infancy. We are able to work with any search engine, but really we concentrate on Google. In fact, we are a Google partner, and the folks over here that do our Google ads are actually Google Analytics certified as well as their Google partners. Additionally, as it relates to kitchen and bath remodeling companies, which is who we work with, we actually are so involved that we're members of the National Kitchen Bath Association. We are speaking at NKBA events, and it's something that we're not the organization who, if you're in the legal space, if you're in the accounting space, the medical space, any of those, we don't really concentrate in that area. So this is why you should listen to me. If you're in the remodeling spaces, this is what we live and breathe every day. In terms of, trust factors and what other people have said about us. I mean, we have published news articles in the Boston Globe. It's been on Fox News, on Google News, just a litany of other major publications. We've been featured on CBS, ABC, NBC. Quite frankly, we are widely accepted as the premier expert in search engine marketing and digital marketing for kitchen remodeling contractors. And probably most important, more than any of that, all those are accolades are great and whatnot. But the fact is that we have the opportunity on a day-to-day basis to work with dozens and dozens of kitchen remodeling, bath remodeling, and home improvement companies across the US and even internationally. So the question that we're really asking here is, does Google Maps really matter? I mean, there are so many ways that you can go out and get people to come to your site. There's Google ads. There are local service ads. There's local SEO. There's maps. There's Bing, Facebook, YouTube. The list goes on and on. But at the end of the day, 70% of the people who are looking for home services are going to pay attention to Google Maps. So according to a study into insights that we've seen, GMBs, which are the Google My Business listing, which the little arrow here is pointing to here, they receive on average 59 actions every month. So of those actions, 56% of those result in a click through directly to your website. 24% of those result in phone calls. And why that really is important is if you add certain tags to your page and to your GMB, you can even have a call button right here on the map so that somebody on a mobile page can actually call you right away without ever even going to your site. And then 20% of these also request directions. And in this space, directions actually is rather important. Yes, kitchen remodeling is something where you're going out to somebody's home, but where do they start first? Well, you're either going to have them come into your showroom and you're going to do a consultation, or you're going to go to them, do your consultation, and then ultimately you're going to bring them into the showroom where they're going to need to pick out their cabinets, and they're going to need to pick out their finishes and their backsplashes and their countertop, what stone they're working with, and all of that. So it really is important that you get people to walk in the door. Even if it's not something that directly measurable to digital marketing in terms of let's fill out a contact form, you're getting them in, you can ask them where they came from. So at the end of the day, the answer is Google Maps absolutely matter. And this is just a perfect example of what we have been able to do to get Google Maps to work for some of our clients. So one of our clients, Kitchen Design Solutions, and these guys are based in Savannah, Georgia, and Hilton Head, South Carolina. Through Google Map optimization and the ability to have to essentially have them appear through paid ads on the Google Maps, as well as their own organic placement on the Google Maps, they received in the first 90 days that we worked with them over 549 leads via the internet. And that comes from clicks to their website, calls to their trackable phone number, directions that people requested and actually went into their showroom. So again, Google Maps, it really matters here. So why are they important? Well, let's look at this is just kind of a basic chart showing, the results just from Google Maps. So, when you look at SEO encompasses a lot of things, and local SEO encompasses a lot of things, whether it is just the maps themselves, whether it's organic listings, whether it's you're trying to direct phone calls or whatnot. But right now, just for the purposes of today, we're looking only at our Google Maps. And you can see here, there were, for the term for kitchen remodeling, there was 6.16 thousand total searches in the Savannah area over a 30-day period, over a 90-day period. And you can see there wasn't a whole lot of searching for this client directly where they put the name in. Rather, it was through discovery. They searched for kitchen remodeling, cabinet installation, custom cabinets, new cabinets, things to that extent. And then if you look at this, so views on search, 5.33 thousand, so 5,300 of those searches were found organically, but 1,200 plus searches were actually on the maps directly. And especially when you're looking at people who are looking at this stuff on their phones, that's super important because they just don't go past, the map area. You can see that phone calls. You can see visits to the website here and requests for directions, 237 visits to the website alone, 46 requests for directions to the showroom, 19 phone calls. This is just from Google Maps. This has nothing to do with organic. So yes, Google Maps are going to drive phone calls. They're going to drive people to your location. And you really can't rely on pay-per-click alone. Not only that, but if you think about pay-per-click, we're a huge proponent of Google ads and of Facebook ads and even of YouTube ads and Instagram and whatnot. But you have to pay if you want people to come to your site. And the minute you stop paying that monthly fee or that daily fee for that matter, your calls are going to dry up. Google Maps is a sustainable, it's an organic process and a strategy that once you do get yourself ranked, it's just a matter of maintaining it in order to keep that ranking. So what are the challenges that we face with getting those rankings initially and staying there? So originally Google Maps, when they came out, listed 7 different companies in, when you do a near me search. That has been reduced over the last few years to only 3. So again, this is why I say 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't matter. But if you're not in that top 3, you're just not there. It would be like saying, hey, are you on page 1 or are you not? You can be on page 2, page 3, page 10 of Google. Page 2 and page 10, same thing. Nobody goes there. So Google is also serving paid ads in map results now. So one of the things that we have found is if you add a local extension to your Google Ads campaign, you can appear in the maps. Now, mind you, that's only going to work if for your location. So you can't buy your way into, let's say, you're in Miami, Florida, and you want to show up in Orlando, Florida's maps. You can't just buy your way in there. You do have to have a location, but there are enough folks who have those locations that the paid Google ads show up, and it does look fairly similar to the organic rankings. So you really need to make sure you're in there. Now, home services is it's a type of ad that shows up on top of the map. So basically what it is, it's like Google Ads, but you don't pay per click. Rather, what you're doing is with Google Home Services, you're paying per lead. And because of that, and because Google is getting $15, $20, $25 a lead, they're creating prominence for those types of ads above the maps. So if you're not in the map and you're not in the Google local service ads and you don't have a Google ad running, you're now 15 through 25, and that's organic alone. Which is why, again, it's so important to be in that local 3-pack. Now, it is critical to complete the advanced verification process, obviously, with Google Maps. If you do that, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, it will help you get into more maps than just those in your local neighborhood. So, this chart here is just kind of giving you a little bit of an example of what it is that Google Maps is and where everything else is. So if you look at this, you can see the local service ads on the very top of a page. Right here, we were just searching for Buffalo, New York plumber, right? Then you had your actual Google ad. Then you've got your map locations, your local 3-pack. So the reason, again, that it's so important is even if you're number 1, let alone number 1, 2, or 3, you're still below all these, you're below here, so it takes a little bit and someone's going to want to go that far down. Now, to go even below that area into the organic rankings, you can imagine how difficult it is to get someone to find you. So certainly if you're not going to be ranked in the top, 3 or 4, it's just not going to work. All right. So again, just kind of fixating on the local service ads, it's really, really important that you consider all the different ways that you can show up locally. So again, this is something where you can't show up, in an area where you don't service. Not that you'd want to, and quite frankly, you're wasting your budget. Who would want to do that unless you're just trying to build brand name recognition? But Google Maps are just, they are the first organic placement. So again, it's where people are going to look for you. And, it has been proven time and time again that people searching for home services, they know what an ad is and they know what organic is. And most of them do skip over. Now, they're going to have to go over those names, and yeah, it gives brand recognition, and yes, they are going to get clicks, but generally the area of Google's search results page that gets the most results are going to be the GMB listings. So, and I don't want to bore you. I mean, we've kind of talked about this ad nauseum here, but as you can see, there's a whole lot before you get to the Google SEO, just the regular local SEO pages. So this is why it's important to be up here. So why might you not be on the Google Maps? What could be hurting that? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a question? Oh, all right. So the first thing is you need to have an actual office in the city that you're targeting to rank well in Google Maps. Now, what that means is You're not going to go out to Regis or to some other shared office space and or a PO box and expect to rank on these maps. You do have to have an actual place that you can get mail that is not known to Google as a post office box, not known to Google as a shared office space. Now, some of you may very well may have a shared office space, where you are in a building with 3, 4 other companies. There are ways around this, but typically what you have to do is you're going to have to do some advanced certifications with Google, and you're going to have to demonstrate that you actually are in that building full time. Typically, it involves something as simple as maybe just sending a utility bill and a picture of the office, picture of the sign in the front of the building with your office there. Okay, so have you tried to spam Google with fake locations? And that's exactly what we're talking about. People who set up a PO box, in every city around, within 25 miles. Well, Google's going to pick up on that, and that's going to actually hurt you. And when they see that, they're going to make sure you don't rank in the maps for those areas, and could even hurt your ability to rank in areas where you do have an office. Probably the biggest piece is that hurts your map ranking is confusing Google. So there's something called NAP, name, address, phone number. So when you go out and you create various citations on the web, whether it be through Yext or through Bright Local, or whether you go and you just find citations and directories that you list your own company on, you need to make sure that the name, the address, and the phone number are identical in every way. And that can be as simple as, Joe's Kitchen Remodeling Inc. versus Joe's Kitchen Remodeling. Those are two different names. Addresses, do you use the word suite versus a pound sign? Phone numbers even. Do you put the 1 in front of your, is it 1-508-935-1234, versus just, 508? These are things that, and if you send these confusing, conflicting signals to Google, they don't know if it's the same company. So they don't know that you're actually should be getting the ranking from these, from all of these different citations and different directories. Now, one of the biggest pieces, and this is a little bit more advanced, but are you geotagging images in your posts? So when you look at your Google My Business listing, there is something called posts. It's very similar to a Facebook post or an Instagram post. And essentially what you're able to do is you're able to put a little bit of information about what's new, or talking about a coupon or a special you're running or a press release or whatever it might be, and you can upload an image. Now, a lot of people don't even take it to that level. And those who do take it to that level, 95% stop. Well, what you haven't done is you haven't added in your XF data. You haven't added in the geo coordinates, meaning the latitude and the longitude, embedded as metadata in the image, and then uploaded that image. Because even though the user can't see the metadata, well, they can, I suppose, if they use the right software, but it's not front facing, Google can read those. So by putting in, for example, before and after photos in different towns that you have done remodeling projects, and then putting the geotagged address inside the image, you're now sending signals to Google that, hey, we are relevant in, and let's take Los Angeles, for example, we are relevant in Van Nuys. We are relevant in Greater Los Angeles. We are relevant in Hollywood. We are relevant in Burbank, rather than just we are relevant in Van Nuys. And then the biggest piece of all, because this goes to conversions, it goes to user engagement, is do you have enough reviews across the web? So Google not only can display their own reviews, but they can also display Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews, and a few others. House reviews tend to show up in GMB listings. And why that's important is, even if you're number 3, this is why I say 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't matter. If you're number 3 and you've got 75 5-star reviews, maybe a couple 4-star reviews, and number 1 has no reviews or 2 or 3 reviews, who would you want to talk to? Who do you trust more? The company that might have bought those 2 reviews, might have paid a buddy to put them up there, or the company who's got 75 reviews? And again, these are verified. You can see who's leaving the reviews. So it gives that trust factor. And one of the things that promotes you on the maps is engagement of your Google My Business listing. So the more people that engage with your listing, the more clicks that your listing gets, the more relevant Google believes you are to the particular search term, and you're going to get boosted. So what is the formula that we use here at Kitchen Remodeling SEO to get ranked in that local 3 back? All right. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, but the key really is reviews, is making sure your data is accurate, and is making sure that that you are posting on GMB, geotagging those images. Basically, it's no different than the on-page SEO. It's no different than making sure that your website is optimized. You got to optimize your Google My Business listing. So a couple things here. The first one is you've got to claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. Google doesn't just know you're there. So essentially what you need to do is you log into google.com/business. Then you search for your business. If it's not there, then you want to claim it. You'll give some information. Google will send a postcard to your address. You'll take that postcard. On the back is going to be a confirmation code. You enter that in, and Google verifies you. Now you've got a GMB account. There's a ton of information that you can put up. A lot of people just put in their name, and that's about it. Maybe they'll put in their contact info, but you want to look at things. For example, what GMB category is most relevant to you. So for example, custom cabinetry is not a GMB category. You can create your own, but it's not going to go very far. Kitchen remodeler, however, is. Now, kitchen remodeling is not a category. So it's important to know what the categories are, and you want to enter in the exact category that is most relevant to you. Are you local versus national? Putting an 800 number, it's not a good idea. It sends a signal to Google, as well as, frankly, to anyone who sees you as, oh, you're probably using some call service, and you may be a giant conglomerate. You might be a Home Depot affiliate for all you know. No PO boxes, no 800 numbers. And then the other piece is you're in a very visual space. You're in the space of kitchen remodeling. So why not upload before and after photos, and why not geotag those before and after photos? I mean, it's crazy not to do it. And then, of course, anything else that is asked for. What services do you offer? What hours are you open? Are you open on certain holidays? Do you run specials? All of these kind of things. This is information that you can add in, and the more information that you give Google, the more relevant you can become to longer tail and more specific searches. So let's talk about these GMB posts that we keep mentioning. So once you're inside your Google My Business admin panel, you want to go down to posts, or you want to go to info, depending on what you're adding. If we're going to add information about us, we go to info. If we're going to do a GMB post, we go to posts, and then we want to click on the add photo. So once you update your photo, and again, when we're updating our photos, we want to geotag it, but even more importantly, we want to personalize it. Don't upload stock photography. It's illegal. It's not illegal, but it violates the terms of service of Google. You cannot, under any circumstances, upload stock photography. If Google catches you doing it, they can turn off your entire GMB profile. You want to leverage the post for the last 90 days. And ideally, what we do is we tend to post once every 3 days. And yeah, it seems like a lot, but you can recirculate some of your older posts, and B, it gives you the opportunity just to keep putting up more and more geotagged images and just more content that talks about the different types of services that you provide, the different types of projects, the different areas that you're in. Another thing is, yes, getting reviews are important, and certainly getting good reviews are important, but you want to respond to those reviews. And it can be as simple as, hey, it was great working with you, Tony. Thanks for hiring us. To, if someone posts anything that isn't stellar, gives you the opportunity to explain your side of it, and also to offer a resolution in the public, which again gives that appearance that, hey, these guys really care about their customers. And certainly answer any questions that get posted, because Q&As and frequently asked questions is a big part of the ranking algorithm. So those are things that you can do on the site. There are also some things that you can do off-site, which are really important as well. And we've touched on this before in terms of the NAP, making sure that your name, address, and phone number is consistent. You want to build citations. So there are hundreds and hundreds of citation sites out there. You don't need to claim a citation on every site under the sun, but you do want to make sure that you've got a good handful of them. I like to go with a number somewhere between 30 and 75 different citation sites, and those need to be the important ones. So ones like Yelp, ones like House, ones like even Twitter, Facebook, places like that. A citation is nothing more than just a reference to your company and to your website. And you absolutely want to make sure that you don't have any incorrect information, and you don't want to have duplicate information. So for example, if you have a company, again, let's say it's Paul's Custom Cabinets, don't have a GMB for Paul's Custom Cabinets and then one for Paul's Custom Cabinets Incorporated. Those two are going to conflict, and you're going to essentially dilute your authority. And then the last piece is you want to pay attention to something called data aggregators. So Factual, Axiom, Info Group, these are all basically websites that will take that information, your NAP information, and they'll distribute it to hundreds of different citation sites. So as long as your information is accurate in these data aggregators, they're going to put that information out there to, and they're going to automate it so that you don't have to go out and manually do this. Now, I will tell you, it takes quite a bit of time. Some of these don't push information out, rather a lot of different citation sites pull it from them. So it can take upwards of 6 months to see some really strong results, but you'd be foolish not to take advantage of the automation opportunity. So what are the tools that you can use? Well, there's a few of them. Bright Local and Whitespark are my favorite tools to use in terms of building out citations if you don't want to manually do it yourself. Bright Local and Whitespark, you can hand select, you can cherry pick the citations you want to go after. You create a profile, you select, let's say 10, 15, 50, however many it is, and you pay a fee of usually $3 to $5 per citation. And then the company will using their software, or they claim that they're manually doing it. I question that a little bit. I think a lot of it is automated. They'll go out and they'll create it. Now, there is another organization called Yext. Be careful with Yext. Yext owns most of the major citation sites, so there's a huge draw to wanting to use them. And what Yext will do is you build this one profile, you hit the submit button, and then within seconds, you are up on 500 or so different citation sites. Costs $500 a year. Here's the problem. You are tied to Yext for life. The minute you stop paying that $500 annual fee, all your citations disappear. Whereas with some of these organizations, or manually building them, your citations are, because they're manually created, are going to stay there. They're not going to disappear because you stop paying this license fee. So for that reason, we tend not to use Yext unless you're moving, to a new location, and you need to update everything. And then it's a matter of you may want to go in and then manually update your own citations after that. So how do you find out where you even have citations, or if you do yet? There's tons of tools out there. The one that I recommend is on the screen here right now. You might want to jot this down. Shoot me an email after this, or a text message after this. I'd be happy to send this to you if you don't get a chance to get it. But brightlocal.com's free SEO tools includes a citation scanner. So this is what it might look like, if this is one of our clients that didn't have a great citation set up, but this is what it looked like initially. So you look at your scores, how many citations how many of the key citations are found, how many were correct. I mean, this particular client had 6 errors, so that really hurts. Oops. So again, what are the best practices? If you can do it manually, honestly, it's your best bet, but it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort. And there, places like Bright Local and White Spark are good enough. Yext is a great tool if if you want to use the very best out there. Just know you're financially tied to them forever. And the minute you stop paying, you're going to have to do it a different way. You're going to have to start building them all over again from scratch. In terms of data aggregators like Factual, you want to sign up for these. It usually costs around $60, 60 to $75, all in with all 4 major data aggregators. It's a one-time fee. Go in, submit it. I mean, it's something that we do for our client. Every one of our clients, we just put them in there. It's the first thing we do day one. Just get it going. And again, just leverage the tools the best you can, and also look for any specific niche directories. And I'll talk about this in a minute. I'll show you a few of the ones that are really important in the kitchen remodeling space. But if you're in the kitchen remodeling space, you're going to find niche directories very different than if you're in the legal space. For example, in the legal space, there are people like Avo and whatnot. And in the remodeling, the home services space, you might want to use House. Places like that are more built towards that. Angie's, even having a profile on Angie's list, it's a citation. So again, in the remodeling industry, and again, if you want to get this list in full, just shoot me a contact, shoot me an email, reach out to us at kitchenremodeling.seo.com. I'd be happy to provide any of this to you guys afterwards. But these are some of the ones that are really important. Contractors.com, bestplumbers.com is a big one for those of you who are doing bathrooms. eHardhat is another really good one. House is another great one. BuildZoom. These are the ones that are going to send those niche relevant signals to Google. So not only are we sending signals that, hey, I'm in, Nebraska, I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, but I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm a contractor, and I do bathroom remodeling and plumbing. Of course, reviews are huge, like we said. Who do you trust more? The person who's got a bunch of reviews, the person's got no reviews, the person who's got good reviews, and the person's got bad reviews. So this is why that is something that comes into play. And this is why I say it's the most important, because not only is it a signal sent to Google about your relevancy and do they take that into account, but in terms of the actual end user, they're more likely to click on your page if you have reviews. Now, even better is if you're getting reviews, you can set up a review page on your website. You can pull the reviews directly from your GMB, and then you can add in the XML schema for reviews, which will then show your reviews up on your organic, not just your map rankings. So how do you get reviews? Well, there's a lot of different ways. One way certainly is to leverage automation tools. To send off email campaigns and all that, a year late. But when you do it a year later, 2 years later, do people, A, do they care enough to even give you a review? And B, if they do, what are they going to say? So what we suggest is that you tell your technicians and your installers to ask for the review in person the day they finish a project, when someone is most happy. Brand new kitchens, sparkling counters, no issues at all with the cabinets. Brand new floor, whatnot. That's when we ask for them. And we even recommend that you leave a little review card, and on that review card, put the QR code. So all they got to do is scan with their phone the QR code, and bang, Google review pops up. And they can leave that review on, right then and there. They don't have to log into anything. They don't have to figure out, where do I go? Obviously, once the job is done, you can have the project manager then give them a call on the phone, send them a text message. One of the other things that we recommend for our clients is that they give us a list at the end of each week of all the projects that they completed, and then we put that into a texting automation sequence where we're asking for those reviews, and we put the link right in there. So there are, like I said, there are some tools that will do this. These tools are rather expensive. Bird's Eye, Nearby Now are probably the two most popular. I can tell you that both of those are, well into the 3 digits a month. I don't know that you want to incur, an additional couple $100 a month just to get reviews, when this really is something that you could be done in-house, or even just, just as part of your overall process. I am not a proponent of using any of these services because I think it's a waste of your money. But if you just can't seem to get the reviews, your installers just don't remember to do it. You don't have the customer service person to go and call these people afterwards. You don't have an agency who might have an email and text automation program. There's certainly, it's not a bad way to go. So the one last piece that we want to talk about here in terms of what you can do to really optimize your page is make sure your actual website is set up properly and is optimized. So this is a footer from one of our clients. And what you'll note is that their phone number, which is an 800 number, mind you, and that's that's a challenge in and of itself, but that's the number that's on their GMB. There is a link directly to their Google map right from the website on every page of the website. So that's sending those signals. The address is there on every page. So and the zip code, which is so important, is sending signals. And all of these links are pointing to pages that contain their address. So you want to make sure that you take the time to optimize your website properly. And if you are interested in learning more about that, we do have a webinar that we did a few months ago called how to set your website up for conversions. I highly recommend taking a look at that. Also, if you just want to give us a call, if you have any questions, feel free. We're always there to, we love talking to people in the industry. So if you have anything you just want to run by us, no issues, and reach out to me on social media, on Facebook, email, no worries at all. And then we have the off-page factors that we've already talked about. Just to summarize: claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. You want to get citations on relevant citation sites, both geographically and from the niche. Build up those online reviews. Make sure that you respond to the reviews that you do have, whether they're good or bad. Build build backlinks. How do you build backlinks now? So that's another thing is, how about setting up press releases, and those press releases can embed your GMB map within those press releases, so that when those go out to hundreds and hundreds of media sites, and those media sites that do publish a press release, your map, your GMB is going to be on their site. So there's going to be now a link from an authoritative source to your map listing. And that's all just part of content syndication. So when you're thinking about that, we're talking about a blog post, really. It's not enough just to put a blog post out there. You really need more. And that's where this type of PR syndication can really help you out. So in terms of the strategy behind what Google looks at, is we look at we look at signal generation through the EAT model, which is, stands for expertise, authority, and trust. Essentially, at the end of the day, people do business with those who they know, like, and trust. All right. So expertise, the first thing, the quality, the structure of your content. You want to put out content that is relevant to what people are searching for. So if you are a general kitchen remodeler, and you do everything under the sun, you want to write about just overall projects. If you're just doing cabinet refacing, talk about the different types of cabinet doors that you use, the different hardware, things like that. Okay. Authority: who believes in you beyond you? This is where, if you have these press releases going out there, it will help. If am I published on ABC and CBS, Fox, Google News, places like that, then you're going to get more credit. And then trust, and trust comes down to the reviews. So, without going overboard here, there are three main areas that you really need to look at in terms of creating, content and creating signals to Google. So one is proximity. How close is someone to you when they search? The closer they are to you, and that's something that you can't control. But it's something that you need to understand is going to come into play. Relevance. How relevant is the search term? If you're putting out content that is relevant to what they're searching for, you're more likely to come up. If I'm doing, flooring and all I talk about is refacing cabinets, I'm really not relevant to a flooring search. And yeah, maybe someone searches kitchen remodeling, the overall term, but you really want to talk about the specifics. And then prominence. So what's the authority? What is that EAT level? And that really comes down to, honestly, building links to, through PR and reviews. So this is an example of a site that where we'll have this news and media component. We write a blog, and now we want to syndicate that blog out everywhere. And then what happens is you take a look at the all the different news sites that may have picked up that blog press release. So you can see in here, you've got a Fox affiliate right there. We got a couple of Fox affiliates. You have radio stations. You have CBS News. You have all of this. So now you're sending these relevant signals to Google. There's a true authority signal being sent. And this is a perfect example of how that works. So take a blog article, essentially get it posted onto a Fox News site, and then in your very first link, you want to use a keyword like kitchen remodeling, like custom cabinets, whatever it might be, and use that as a do follow link and link directly to your GMB. And now we're sending signals from a Fox website to Google that your website and your map is all about custom cabinets, or in this case, residential plumbing. Now here is the result, by the way, of that one particular project. And you can see after 30 days, 65 of their rankings went up, in addition to 117 keywords that they weren't even ranking for at all. Now they're ranking in the top 50 for. So that's a total of over of almost 200 keyword searches that now are increased in ranking simply by using the PR model. So, in general, and just to recap everything here, we want to look at our on-page factors. We want to make sure we have pages about the area that that we're trying to optimize our Google My Business listing for on our website. You want to make sure, and this is just general stuff. And again, take a look at some of our webinars in the past about on-page SEO, but title tags, headings, the slug in your URL, making sure your images have the right alt tags, and then, quite frankly, making sure your images are geotagged, and maybe embed the geotagged image that you upload to Google right into your website. If you don't know how to embed geotags, by the way, there's plenty of tools out there that can do it. One tool that is very popular is something called Local Viking. So I would look into that. Make sure you have unique content on all pages. Don't duplicate content. That's just common knowledge. So from the GMB, claim and optimize your map. Add to Bright Local, Yext, Whitespark. Use one of these platforms to generate citations, again with Yext, just the caveat, I got to keep saying it.
Sorry, Mike.
Yep.
Can you repeat the tool that we're using for geotags?
Yes. So for geotagging, the tool that we like to use is something called Local Viking. Now, the trick with Local Viking is you're going to have to set up a Google API. So to set up the Google API, their customer service will walk you through it step by step. But basically what happens then is you go in through their tool, you upload an image, and then you'll get an interface. It'll ask you for things like the title, the description of the image, what is the latitude and the longitude that you want to embed in that, who's the author of the image, things like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure. So in addition, like to the citations and using the, Bright Local, Yext, whomever, add your listing into the data aggregators. And the nice thing also about data aggregators is that they will actually correct errors as they find them. So that's a nice piece too. Put a system in place, obviously, for driving online reviews, and whether that is using one of the, the bird's eye type of software, whether it's having your installers come in and actually just leave a postcard with a QR code on it so people can do it, whether it's an email and text automation. Have some process in place. I recommend having all of them in place if you can, because the more reviews, the better. The only thing I recommend with that is if you know there's some problems with a particular project, obviously be careful and judicious in asking those people for reviews. And then add new citations on an ongoing basis. And the best way to do that is through PR syndication. Is, these news sites that might link to link to your site with your PR. There's your ongoing link building process. Content, obviously, you want to keep putting out new blog posts. And every time you put out a new blog post, you go into your Google My Business and you create a GMB post that points to the blog post. And of course, leverage your signals. Make sure that you're putting out content that's relevant to your industry. Make sure that you are, getting reviews. Make sure that you're getting links. One of the biggest pieces also is adding do follow links to go to your GMB. So when you do create these blog posts and these PR, you don't want to dilute the effect of those links. So what I recommend is the very first link and the very last link in your PR post, make that a do follow link. Everything else, make those no follow links. Now, let me tell you, no follow link tells Google don't follow this link to the page and index it and give it authority, but that doesn't stop the crawlers from still going there anyways. And it sends signals to Google that you believe that this other page is relevant to what you're talking about. So it's still a signal that helps you at the end of the day. It just doesn't help the person that you're sending the link to, which is okay. Map embeds, again, in all your press releases, make sure you embed your GMB map. And again, just do it. Don't do it once and just say, okay, I've done it. You want to, with our clients, we do it 3 times a month for every client. So I hope you got something out of this today. If it was helpful, that's fantastic. If it was something where you think that, you'd like to get a little more information, feel free to give us a call at 339-645-9461. We'd be happy to schedule you and do a lead acceleration session with you, where we'll actually take a deep dive and look at your digital marketing. And, we'll be able to determine, what kind of online visibility you have. Are you going after the right keywords? We'd even run a ranking report for you, do an analysis of your citations. Where do you have links? An analysis of your online reputation, and let you know, hey, do you have some negative reviews out there that you might want to deal with? Do you have enough? Things to that extent. Looking at your Facebook, ads, your Instagram ads if you're running those, and also looking at the website for conversion elements, meaning do you have the right pieces in place to turn those people, those searchers, into actual leads. There's a lot going on here, and hopefully you can take a lot of this and do it on your own. But if you do feel a little overwhelmed, and if you are looking for some help, or even just you just want to chat with us about, have a question or two about something you saw, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a message. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube, social media across the board. Reach out to us and be happy to talk with you. All right. Well, I thank you very much. I'm going to open it up right now to any questions anybody might have. And if not, I will then conclude today's webinar. And again, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. And then we will be back in about a month with our next webinar. All right, bye-bye.